Jefferson, and Clallam counties. Um, so today I'm just going to give you a little overview of our program. It can be a little confusing because we partner with so many agencies and we're so embedded within processes that sometimes we're really not noticeable, which is what we want, but it's also can be confusing for people to kind of understand where we are and who we are. So hopefully I can help with some of that today. So next slide. Pathways to Success is a program that is designed for both the participant and the community. So as a whole, like business. So our main mission is to provide young adults the opportunity to kind of make sure they're on a career track or a path that fits for their life situation, with a little bit of extra knowledge of demand in the field, as well as long-term self-sufficiency. So for our youth, we're really, and I just in general say youth, but young adults, we're serving 16 to 24-year-olds. And each county kind of has a different financial target for self-sufficiency. Here in Kitsap County, that's about $23 an hour. So as you can imagine, taking somebody from a dropout status or from high school into a $23 an hour job, that's a little bit of a push. So we want to just kind of look down the road and try to move forward to that goal. At the same time, we're trying to provide the businesses and the community with productive workers and productive participants. So the main thing that we've seen is that we want our youth and young adults to engage and share their passions with the communities because our communities need them, obviously. And we need their creativity, their ideas, their intelligence, all those pieces. And so really we want to say, you're welcome and we want you in our workforce and we want you in our communities and whatever that might look like for them. And so this mission is aligned with the Olympic Workforce Development Council, which that is an organization that is across the state, and its mission is to look at from that other side, the lens of the businesses, and say, hey, these are the businesses we have. This is the kind of workforce we need to develop. So these two missions work hand in hand, basically, from different sides of the perspective. Next slide. You might be wondering where to find us. Like I mentioned, we are in Kitsap, Jefferson, and Clallam counties. Our primary location for service is out of the WorkSource offices. So we have a WorkSource office here in Silverdale, and we also have a WorkSource office in Sequim. And that one was a little controversial for us youth program people because it's hard to get to from Jefferson County and from Port Angeles, or from basically from Port Townsend or Port Angeles. It's a little bit of a trek for our young adults. So we really work on providing services. I can't see all of your faces, so I'm not sure if I can joke too much or not, but out of the trunks of our car, we just kind of go to where our young adults are to to make sure that we're getting those services out there. We have a lot of great partnerships with the libraries, with all of you. And so we're able to meet young adults in different locations. So that's often what happens. If anyone's familiar with Kitsap, we meet people at Kitsap Community Resources, in all of the libraries, sometimes at Starbucks, wherever that is, sometimes at the park, especially during COVID. And in Jefferson County, some of our big partners are the Nest, right near Aldridge's, the Community Boat Project, and again, the libraries. They're easy for us and they feel very safe for everyone. Again, we're in Sequim, and then Port Angeles, we're meeting again at the libraries, and then also at Serenity House, and some of our partners at Olympic Connect. We also travel all the way to Forks, like I'm sure many of you do, trying to get out there and make sure we're visiting everybody, all our friends. We do have a bit of exciting news, and that is that this fall we will be opening a young adult learning center in Bremerton, and that will be modeled of an open door program. If anybody's familiar with that, it's basically a dropout re-engagement program, but will be very flexible. We will all be there as rotating helpers, and we're really looking forward to it and hoping that like all our partners will like come and join us and join this space to really serve the young adults of our communities. Most people there will be working on their GED completion. There will be at least 2 teachers on site. We'll be calling them coaches because we're really staying away from the K through 12 concept in that space. Really trying to open it up to people who may have lost a little bit of confidence in those learning spaces. So more to come on that, but I decided to put it in at the last minute just because I was excited about it, and I'm excited for you all to hear about it. So that's where we are. Is there any questions at this point? Let's see. Do you meet one-on-one with these young adults? Yes, we do. Our program is very individualized. We haven't found a lot of success with group activities just because everybody has such different schedules, but we may be able to accomplish some group think and group work at Open Doors. We'll see. And then the next question is, does this program work with adults who have a disability, i.e. autism and spectrum? We certainly do. Our age limit is 16 to 24, all the way up to somebody's 25. So when we are saying youth, our language is a little bit different in our definition than maybe most people would think about, because they're thinking youth younger. And we're like, these are still youth until they're 25. So we're like a little different on that. And we're across the board working with people with different challenges for sure. And so whoever comes in our door, we're going to help them from where they are, basically. And so that is more and more of the people we serve are needing extra additional support with their challenges to engage with the workforce, basically. So next slide. So That question actually is perfect for this part of the discussion. As we know, our adult population face a lot of challenges right now, and there's a lot of concern and it's hard to find a job right now. There's a lot going on in our communities, and sometimes for youth and young adults, most often what we found is that sometimes they sound silent about all of that, but those issues are even bigger for them, and it really piles on quickly. So we're seeing a lot more mental health, needing a lot more support and help with mental health, physical health, um, engagement in the in employment, engagement in the workforce. Not, we're talking about careers and all this big stuff down the road, but just getting by day to day with food and housing and just basic needs. And so, and transportation. And I think that you all know that. So I'm, not telling you anything new, but we do notice that it's a bit compounded for the youth and young adults in our communities because sometimes they lack access on a bigger scale because of their age, because of the way people look at them, because of, their experiences. So we really try to be aware of what they might be bringing in the room and into the space to be able to help speak to that and hopefully create a safe place for them to let us know that they are challenged with autism and that it's a little bit tricky to navigate the world with that. Hopefully we're creating that environment where they can really engage with us. Do you have a connection with the Port Gamels Fallon Education Department? Yes, we do. We engage with them and actually have, I'm sorry, just a second. Okay. So sorry. We actually were just at a work, um, at a work, at a community event with them, and we were getting to know their teams a little bit more, and it's very exciting just to be connected for sure. Next slide. So our approach, and somebody kind of was asking about that a little bit earlier, is how do we do our work? And so a little at a time, we are very individualized. We are looking at a person who comes through the door and has a need, and we want to start where they are and then create that option and possibility and hope process to be able to take them to a different, to something different. We understand that the challenges along the way are going to, sometimes accomplishing something can be scary, and it can be scary to change. And so we talk a lot about that and work through that often. We're hopefully providing some pretty good mentorship. Problem solving is a day-to-day part of our work. We're always working on skill development, the educational pathways, whether that's, a lot of people don't know, but there's a 1-day certification in forklift, 1-day certification in flagging, and it doesn't have to be a 4 to 8 year process in post-secondary education. So we really try to help create some more possibility by eliminating barriers for these young people. It's fun to do a little bit of advocacy for them because sometimes they don't know how to pick up the phone and make a phone call to somebody. So we're really right there in their corner throughout the process.
I
Next slide.
I have a question for
Yeah,
you,
sure.
Emily.
Sure. Sorry.
For some of the options that you just suggested, like the forklifting and things like that, do you offer to pay for those services or do you just help them get connected to that?
Um, if they're enrolled in our program, we can pay for that. So the problem is if we're just working with someone, that can be more difficult. That being said, the way we work, we try our very best to connect people to those financial needs. So we will, we don't just give a phone number. Basically, we're right there by their side and getting those other services that they need for people that we're working with. So if we can't pay for it, we work on getting them the money, basically.
Oh,
So
that's cool. And
yeah,
then when it comes to like the intern and apprenticeships, do you have like partners that you have relationships with that you can like streamline them to, or is that again like you just helping them search for apprenticeships and internships?
we have partnerships. So we have partnerships that we're connecting them to, and then we're mentoring them through that process
Oh, that's cool.
so that um because a lot of times when they get to I this last year, I know there's about 5 young adults I can think of. We got them started on an internship, and it blew up within the first week. And so then we'll have to we need to find them another one and restart it. Um, Youth and young adults are just often more, and I'm sure all of you know everything I'm saying, so nothing new, but just that they're often more, you need to be a little more hands on with them.
Yeah.
So that's what we really try to do. Yeah, next slide. So sometimes I think the best way to really understand what our program does, um, we get different lots of money to do different projects, and we're always looking for that opportunity to be able to expand and help more young people through this. We've seen a lot of success. um, it's a little bit like the starfish model, though. It is one at a time. We've just found that the youth that we work with are people who really need a little bit of extra time, and that can be a year, it could be a year and a half. Um, in in overall, a year is not that much time, but in our fast-paced world, it's like you're staying with that person for a year or a year and a half. But most of the youth we work with, we're with them for about a year and a half. We just had somebody who is 30 and they came back actually and were chatting with us. And so I think sometimes the best way to understand what we do is just by hearing a story of somebody, a journey, I guess. It should be called a journey a little bit more than a story, but a person's journey with us. So I will just call her Kim because that's the name we decided to give her. And we met Kim when she was in juvenile detention, actually. She was having a really hard time staying in school, and so did get put in the detention center. And she was pretty um, assertive, I would say, during those interactions, and just saying hi and telling her about our program. And she she did at the very end express some interest in pathways. So we're a voluntary program, and so we're like, okay, here, give us a call if you want to. And she did end up calling us when she got out of the detention center. And we just worked slowly on her goals. We don't set goals for people. We want them to be employed or in post-secondary education by the time they're done working with us. But other than that, we really let them design their program. And so she got a job at a fast food restaurant and decided that she did want to complete her GED. So we got some study materials and the program paid for those. And she worked away at that for a little bit, probably about 3 months or 4 months, and said she was ready for testing. Well, you won't believe this, but we set up the testing and Peninsula College paid for that testing. But it came to the day and they said that their testing was shut down. And so we had to regroup and figure out a different plan. So her case manager was right there with her, and they found a spot at the WorkSource that was testing eligible, and we were able to set that space up with technology and everything. And she was able to take all 4 of her tests and get through those in about a month and a half, I would say. And so that was great. She had earned her GED. We were like, hey, you're working, you're doing pretty well. What would you like to do next? And she got a lot of confidence from her GED, and she scored very, very well, actually. She scored college level on one of the subjects and just learned a little bit about herself through that process. And she decided she wanted to go back to school in some kind of capacity and that she would like to learn in that environment. And her case manager helped her explore the program of choice, which was welding. And they went and met with a professor and talked about what the coursework would look like and toured the facility. And then she said it was a go. So then it's working through the financial aid aspect and making sure she had applied for the college. And through all those steps, she is now in her second year, which will be her final year because she did a little bit of advanced study and she's been working part-time throughout. She has 90, her grades are within 90%, so she's like a low A average, and she's on target to graduate. So we are super excited for her. I'm proud to say I could multiply that story by about 1,000 because it does happen, and I'm always saying to our team, oh my gosh, we have to celebrate this stuff more because it's just like, okay, who are we helping next? And everybody here has that attitude to just, we've got Kim all settled, now let's work on the next person. So I'm really proud of the work we're able to do here. It is a little slower than other processes, but it's good work. So next slide. I didn't want to take too much more of your time today because I know you have other work to do, but if you do need to or would like to reach out to me, my email is below, and I am reachable via phone or email. I'm here in Silverdale most days, but I'm also in Port Townsend on Thursdays. I should say our team is, I'll introduce you to our team with names, I guess. We have Jamila Larson. She's here in the Silverdale office. We have Patty McNally. She's also here in Silverdale. And Tiffany Skidmore is here in Silverdale. And then she goes to Clallam a couple times a month. And then I, Emily Manson, are here in Silverdale and then go to Port Townsend Thursdays. And then we have our friend Summer Everett who is up in Squim. So we are available and we take people who are enrolled and not enrolled, and are working on a few different ideas moving forward. Just, I think everybody's going through, or maybe it's just us, but we're going through a little bit of an upheaval on funding. And so we are reorienting a little bit to try to figure out how we can do more with less. So um, more to follow on that. But and we will be at the Open Door School on the east side. So all over the place. Are there any other questions for me?
I had one for you.
Okay. Okay.
So if so a lot of the folks that are on the call right now, they are Olympic Connect care coordinators. And so I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear the process of like if they are working with a client that they think would benefit from your program, like what's the best way to connect them to your service? Is there like an intake or is it just reaching out to you?
Um, Most often, I think going through WorkSource itself is probably the best. Um, so you can also reach out to me. That's just great. It usually I'm sort of the hub for the team on that, just because it's can be a little bit overwhelming. But we have orientation here in Silverdale every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So they're welcome to just come to orientation on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock, and that would be on the WorkSource website. You don't have to sign up for our orientation, you can just come. Um, I would say I think I haven't shared quite enough about WorkSource for all of you. Some of you may be familiar, but WorkSource is a completely free organization. If you click to the next slide, it gives a little bit on WorkSource, I guess, just at least the logo. So it's the WorkSource is a American One Stop Job Center that is across the whole nation. So even if you move, there will be an American Job Center there. All the services, again, within the buildings are free. There's job search, better job search. So if you have a job and you want a better job, there's services for that. There's vet services, there's dislocated worker services, there's resume, um, uh, job search, cover letter, interviewing, all of it is completely free. So if somebody is, thinking they have to pay for that, please send them to one of the WorkSource centers and they'll be directed to all the services within the building that are available to them. So for instance, for us, we might have an 18-year-old who's enrolled with our youth program, but we will also enroll them in an adult program so that they can get maximum money for their project or for their, what they're working on. I'm sorry, I see a question from Diana.
Yeah, thank you. Does WorkSource work with refugees who have limited English and limited education from where they're from?
Um, we are also funded in such a way that that can be tricky sometimes, but um, everybody in the building does their best to provide as many services as possible. So sometimes those services are not the paid services, but as much as possible, we try to help with that. Yes.
So if I wanted to help a client who has limited English and I wanted to assist her in getting enrolled in WorkSource, could you do that over the phone with a three-way call with me, the client? Oh, it would be a four-way call, me, the client, and an interpreter and somebody at WorkSource?
Um, I would have to ask them at the front desk exactly Most often they're asking people to come into the workforce. And so
Mm-hmm.
that can be a little bit of a barrier. If you look online, there are the workshops within the, if you look online in the worksource.com, you'll find the local area, and then all of the workshops and hiring events are available there. And so that could be a good way to start getting them connected. Right now, the adult funding is on hold until September. So it just depends on how many services you're needing. If um, I definitely think they usually start people out with an orientation to WorkSource. So that's a very good place to start, especially if there's an interpreter available, because that person could attend virtually with them, because that one, I think they have a virtual option. So that's
Does
the best spot.
does WorkSource provide interpreters who are remote?
It depends. I'm not familiar with all their services available, so I think through that orientation, you would find out a little bit more about that. So I know that I've seen it in the past, but I don't know if you're undocumented, if they would be able to provide that service. If somebody is documented, then that would change things.
Okay, great, thank you.
So any other questions? No, okay. Well, I hope I've been helpful for all of you and cleared up a few confusing spots or helped you understand pathways a little bit more. Super happy to know all of you and hope to see you soon.